What's up, guys? Camster here, also known as Cameron, and welcome to another movie review. This time it is for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, just to put this out here, I am not the biggest Indiana Jones, mega fan out there, okay? I had only just watched the other Indiana Jones films maybe a couple days leading up to this movie, so I was not, I knew of Indiana Jones, of course, but I wasn't, so enthralled with the lore and the characters. So coming into this was, kind of new to me, kind of foreign. But I was also excited because, James Mangold is the director of this film, and he's done Logan, which was a fantastic movie, and he's also doing Swamp Thing for DC, which I will know is going to be a fantastic movie. So I had high expectations, but I also had low expectations because, this is Lucasfilm, this is Kathleen Kennedy. You know what they do to, famous franchises. They just butcher them. So I had expectations, but I had them tempered. Was this movie good enough for the Indiana Jones franchise? Now, I know a lot of people, had mixed feelings about Indiana Jones 4 and how it's definitely one of people's worst Indiana Jones films, and some people leading up to this one, they're saying this one was worse or not barely even better than the fourth one. And I watched the fourth one, okay, and I can say from an outsider looking in, I think this is better than the fourth one. But is it a great film? I'm gonna say no. I think it's just an okay film. I think it's it's very enjoyable. That I will say, it is a very enjoyable movie, and kind of like the Fast and Furious movies, kind of like the John Wick movies. Fast and Furious movies, to a certain extent, it's like a movie you can turn your brain off and just kind of watch and kind of enjoy and revel in the nostalgia, because it's been 12 years since the last one, and this franchise is carried on for 40 plus years. So you kind of can just sit down and kind of take it in a little bit. But I think overall as a film, it was just serviceable. But that doesn't mean it was a bad film by any stretch of imagination. I just think there were some things that could have been done better. So I know a lot of questions are on people's minds, and one of the questions that was brought up when people had watched the trailers was, how is the CGI? Is it good? Is it bad? It's a bit of both. From the trailers, this is not spoilers, by the way, but the movie goes back in time to kind of set up what the movie is about, and they use a CGI face, like a deep scan face of young Harrison Ford, on another person's body. And in some of the scenes, it looks really good, but those scenes were just him just kind of like walking around and not moving his mouth or anything. But when he did move his mouth, and he did all these action scenes, jumping from bikes, jumping from trains, jumping from these little buggies in Morocco or whatever, you can tell that it would kind of just like it would float with his face, and it was very noticeable. And it kind of took me out a little bit, and it was something that I went to go see this with my buddy, and we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, yeah, it's very noticeable. And it kind of takes you out of the whole storytelling aspect. I did like the action scenes, though. The Indiana Jones movies have always done a good job with the action scenes, and while none of the action scenes in this movie had tension to them, there was a whole lot of good stunt work, a lot of good character choices within the action scenes. A lot of people made smart decisions when it came to what they wanted to do when it came to attacking somebody or trying to take back the relic that this movie is based off of, the Dial of Destiny. And there's just a whole lot of good set pieces, and I think they've done a very good job always with the Indiana Jones films. I was super impressed when I had seen the original 1981, I think, or 82, 83 first Indiana Jones film. The set pieces in that movie were just impressive, especially for that time. And I always go back and look at those movies. I go back and look at those movies when I had just watched them this week. But I would like to go back and just look at it because the set pieces are just gorgeous. And while they do a good job with that, they don't stay too long. The set pieces are only used for like a good 30 seconds to a minute, and then they just move on. And that kind of bummed me out, because set pieces in movies, they get my grinds, they get my gears grinding. And so stuff like that, it kind of made me a little disappointed, and I wish that they had capitalized on that a little bit. We could talk about the characters. Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, when people come back for certain franchises like this, they come just, for money. They come for the bottom dollar. With this one, you can tell Harrison Ford really cared. He acted his butt off, and there's certain things in the movie that happen, and he has to talk about it. And Indy's not good at talking about his feelings. He's supposed to be this hardened explorer, hardened archaeologist who has gone through all these adventures with certain people. And so he's just not used to, putting that out there. And, Harrison Ford, he does a really good job. I've always liked Harrison Ford. I think he's always been a good actor and a hard worker as well. And then you got his goddaughter. I don't remember the actress's name, but she's been in Fleabag. Her character, she pissed me off. She really did. There were some choices that she made. I was like, what the hell are you doing, lady? Why are you doing this stuff to your godfather? I mean, I get stuff in the past that happened will probably, turn somebody to do these things, but you got somebody here who, watched you grow up, who cares about you, and he was going through his own certain things, and that's why he wasn't there. And just these certain decisions that she makes, she was a bitch, okay, just to put it bluntly. But as the movie went along, some choices that she made, she was, this certain scene happens on the boat, and she, I guess that kind of turns her mind on Indiana, and it starts this character arc for her. And while I think it worked, I still don't like her character entirely. But her as a character, she was okay. And then you had Walmart Short Round in here. You had Teddy, and this is not really a spoiler, but he flies a freaking plane, and he's 10 years old. Like, a 10-year-old is not going to practice flying a plane and then master it the first time. That's just not how the world works, okay? But they literally make a Walmart Short Round, and they just put him on the screen just to, like, I guess, put some youth in there. It didn't really work for me at all. And for certain Indiana Jones fans, the ending will get some talking, I think. But for me, it really didn't bother me because the right decision was made in the ending. But for those that are, have grew up with the Indiana Jones films and who have watched all of them, religiously for years, and who wanted a better ending than the one we got, you're going to be disappointed, I guess. It was a weird ending, to say the least. The third act of the movie was like bonkers crazy. I was like thinking to myself, is this an Indiana Jones film or is this Avengers Endgame? What's going on here? And when you watch the movie, you'll understand why I say that. But overall, I mean, I didn't care because, again, the right choice was made. But, that third act was bonkers, both in a good and a bad way. So when it comes to the rating, I was thinking about two numbers. Two numbers were rotating around my head, 6 or 7, 6 or 7, 6 or 7. And I had landed on 7. But the more I had thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, it's just okay. There's certain things that could have been done way better. There are certain characters that could have been written better. And, while it's not a bad film, it's just an okay film. So the rating for Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny is a 6 out of 10. It's an average film. It's not going to be, talked about as one of the best Indiana Jones films of all time. But, it's just a summer movie. You can go and just, have fun, bring your friends, bring your family, and just kind of watch it and turn your brain off. And that's what this movie is going to give you. So 6 out of 10 is my final rating for the 5th Indiana Jones film. And that's going to do it for the review for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. It helped me out very much. And I am hoping to put another movie review out pretty soon. I think the next one's going to be Insidious 5. I am a big fan of the Insidious films. I love the first one and second one to death. and I am super excited for the 5th one. I think it comes out next week, so keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, like and subscribe, and if you haven't liked and subscribed, what the hell you doing? Like and subscribe, damn it. And I'll see you guys in the next movie review. Bye, y'all.